Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Remember a while back when we ordered the cheapest KISS flight controller we could find on eBay? Well, it's here, and today we're going to take a look at it and see exactly what we got. To start, when it arrived, this is exactly how it came, in nothing more than an anti-static bag. Actually, when it arrived, I didn't even know it was the KISS flight controller. My intention was to open the whole thing up on camera so we could actually experience that together to see how things came, but it literally just came in one of those plastic, China Post envelopes, and that was it. When it got here, I didn't even know what it was, so I opened it up and I'm like, holy smokes, that KISS flight controller from eBay's here, and well, that's it. Just jammed an anti-static bag. A lot of stuff comes shipped like this, so I guess it's not the end of the world. When we're actually buying legit KISS stuff, it really only comes in an anti-static bag as well, so this isn't out of the norm, but I can imagine what this thing went through with absolutely no protection getting here from China. Well, anyway, let's get this thing out of the package. I haven't seen it yet myself, other than what I can see inside of this thing. So I'm going to open it up, we're going to take a look at it through the overhead, and then let's plug it into the computer and see what we actually got. So here she is, all zoomed in. Looks like we've got our F3 processor and a gyro. Really this thing looks spot on. Unfortunately, I don't have another V1 KISS to compare this to. But this thing really looks pretty legit. All the silkscreen markings are here. Maybe these connectors look a little bit cheaper than I would expect on a KISS FC. Same thing with the USB connector, but really overall this looks like what I would expect. Let's flip it over and look at the other side. Same thing with our connectors. All our pads look standard. The connectors look normal. Really overall, just by looking at this thing, I would say that there's no reason why it shouldn't work. Solder some stuff up and see what happens, I guess, right? I don't know if I would fly this personally because it was so darn cheap and I don't know what's in here, but, overall, this thing looks okay. So I guess it's plug it into the computer and see what happens, right? Okay, here we go. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Ooh, that's a little snug. That didn't feel right. Let's try it again. You know what? It's just a cheap USB connector. There we go. That connector doesn't feel good. But I've got a power light. I've got a boot light blinking. It didn't spontaneously combust, so I think that's positive. Let's go over to the KISS GUI and see what happens. Well, with the flight controller plugged in and the KISS GUI up, I have a COM port available. This looks pretty consistent with what I would expect with my KISS builds. As you can see, we're getting up there in the numbers. Probably definitely no KISS Wi-Fi for this, but COM39 makes all the sense in the world. I have all my drivers installed, so the reality is it should connect, right? So, I'm a little nervous. Let's click the button. We're going to connect. Wah, 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 wah. It's not going to connect to the KISS GUI. She ain't got no KISS firmware in it. That's for certain. So, we got two major strikes so far. Not a great USB connector, and we're definitely not running KISS firmware. I have a thought though. Let's jump over to Betaflight, and it still shows our COM port, and connect. What do you know? Look at this. Betaflight version 3.0.1. What's the target? Look at board KISS. It is using KISS as a firmware target for Betaflight. That's kind of interesting. Really, when you're dealing with targets, it has to do with the connections on the pins of the flight controller on the pads that they go to. So really, as long as this board is laid out the same, as a KISS V1, then makes sense that this would work. I don't know if I'm disappointed with this or not, because the reality of it is I'm holding a $10 flight controller. It's running Betaflight. I mean, it is a F3, but I mean, the CPU load is low. Let's look at the config real quick. Yeah, see, the loop times are 2K, 1K. They're way down there. All right, well, I guess we've seen it all with this thing now, right? We kind of know what we have. There's the world's cheapest KISS flight controller. We'll call it KISS flight controller. Yeah, it looks like a KISS and it's laid out like a KISS, but obviously there's no way it can run the KISS firmware, especially the way everything's licensed and managed with the serial numbers of the microprocessor itself. So the reality is I kind of knew going into this thing that it wasn't going to connect to the KISS GUI, regardless of what the ad on eBay said. It does run Betaflight, and it looks like it's updatable, and you could probably fly this thing. I think that we're going to continue this series. Not right now, in a little bit. Once springtime rolls around, I am going to install this in something, and we're going to see how it flies. I wouldn't call this a failure or a loss, because the reality is we got a really cheap flight controller that might still be usable. I have no idea how well it's going to fly. I have no idea what the actual gyro is in this thing. But, I mean, whatever. It was $11, and, you know, it was kind of cool just to try, to be honest with you. I think that's what I'm going to do. Keep your eyes open to find out the conclusion on this in the springtime. We'll see if it flies or not. Well, that's what I got for this one. That's about it for today. Real quick and easy, just an experiment, really for my own curiosity. If you like this video, maybe I can convince you to subscribe. Possibly you'll like it, and maybe you'll even ring that bell. If you can, head over to the best sponsor in the world, HotDog FPV, at HotDogFPV.com, where they have all kinds of awesome FPV-related swag, not to mention the world's best goggle strap. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.